So far, so great, get with it. I can't wait. So far, so great. Objection. Sustained. If you were wondering how much dumber can these intros get, that's your answer. Why am I singing Sonny with a Chance and also pretended like I was in a court scene? Well, because our guest today has done both. I was trying to give you a little bit of the range that I see in Michael Kostroff, who's our guest today. My generation knows Michael Kostroff as Marshall Pike, the executive producer of So Random in Sonny with a Chance. He gives Sonny that opportunity, gives her first job in the big leagues. If you remember Sonny with a Chance, you'll know exactly who Michael is. And I was standing in Pearl Studios and I saw him at an open call and I was like, is that? Oh my gosh, I think that's the executive producer from who's in Sonny with a Chance, who produced So Random in Sonny with a Chance. So he's not an actual executive producer, just to be clear. He is, although maybe he is, but he, in this context, he's an actor, okay? And he's played an executive producer on Sonny with a Chance of So Random. I'm sure that made it clear. So I saw him and I was like, oh my gosh, he's from Sonny with a Chance. So I came up to him and I approached him and just said hello and whatnot. And, it made me wonder. I was like, why is he at an open call? Why is he at, so that's kind of the top of our episode. We discussed that. But most people know him because he did 5 seasons as Maurice Levy on The Wire, which is one of the most iconic shows I think ever to have been made. It's certainly one of those that's like underrated in the sense that it never got any Emmy nominations. But when you ask people are like, what? Like, that show is just iconic as, in certain respects, just as iconic as like The Sopranos and Breaking Bad and Mad Men, like it was in that same era of like must-see TV. So yeah, very, and I saw that, and my brother Christian loves The Wire, so it was a big treat to have him here for that. And then on top of that, he has over 100 TV film credits. I mean, like, to riff off a few lately, it's The Plot Against America, Billions, The Blacklist, The Good Wife, SVU. You've seen him on seasons of SVU. I know him from, like, he's always the evil defense lawyer who's trying to, defend the most awful character. And so, like, SVU, yes, SVU. And, but also, he does some theater as well. He was in the first national tour of The Producers, as well as Les Mis, where he played Thenardier. And, the man has done so much. And he's also an author. He wrote books, including The Stage Actor's Handbook, which had, like, an amazing foreword. And, people talk about it, including, I think, John Lithgow and a bunch of other, great stage actors. So he's done so much. We were so lucky to get the chance to chat with him. And I want to mention this because this is really exciting. He just got wrapped filming a new Marvel television show. So if you're into Marvel, as I am, but it's not a part of the MCU from what I understand. It's called Spider-Noir, and it's the Nicolas Cage Spider-Man TV show, live action TV show that is based on the Spider-Verse movies. So if you remember the Spider-Verse movies, Nick Cage was playing the noir Spider-Man. Now they're making a live action TV show of it called Spider-Noir. I believe it's on MGM Plus or Amazon. And Michael is in it in an undisclosed role. He can't tell us who he's playing quite yet, but pretty exciting, and he's a pretty big part in it, which is really exciting. So I thought that was something that, getting the chance to talk about that was, I was like biting my nails, being like, what can you tell us? What can you tell us, please? He was a treat, and I think you're going to get a lot of this episode. And I also just think that it's such a blast to talk to someone that I watched when I was a kid when I was a kid on Disney Channel. Like, there's something about that feels very nostalgic and specific. And for those who know, that era of Disney Channel for my generation was everything. So, and I think Sonny with a Chance does fall into that, Sweet Life and Wizards and, Hannah Montana kind of essence that's So Raven. So, yeah, let's get to it. You'll love it. Without further ado, today, I want to be like Michael Kostroff.
I want to be like you.
I wanna be like you. I wanna be like you. I wanna be like you, you. Welcome to another episode of I Wanna Be Like You with Elbi Cespedes. Today, I wanna be like Michael Kostroff.
I'll take it. That's so nice.
So I really like I emphasize this because we met in passing at, funny enough, on my birthday at an audition for, I think it was Smash, when Smash was coming to Broadway, right?
Okay.
And this was like a year ago, right? And I saw you at Ripley or Pearl, whatever one it was, and I was like I couldn't believe that I was like, Sonny with a chance. I was like, oh my gosh. And I was like kind of like geeking out a little bit. I was like, I'm going to go say hi. And I'm so glad that I did. Yeah. And then we recently saw each other again. What's funny about it though, and what I've discovered in like researching you is like, I sat there and I wanted to myself, I was like, he's a big actor. Like, I've seen him in everything, in SVU and all these things. What is he doing here at this Smash audition?
That's a good question.
You know? And I'll let you speak to that a little bit.
Yeah. It wasn't Smash. It was something else. I can't remember what. But that's a moot point. There are a couple of reasons why I go to open calls. And I'm always very transparent and frank. I don't front. So I will tell you that at my ripe old age, I still have almost no New York stage credits.
Sure.
And so after years of my agents going, we got it, and nothing happening, I just decided to start going to open calls. And the only time that I've ever made headway is from open calls.
Sure.
And yes, I kind of like that I show up and people are like, what's he doing here? I'll take it.
Yeah.
But the only time that I've had an interaction is from open calls. I don't know why, that's just how it is. I still am waiting to make my, I've done a little bit of New York theater, but very, very little.
Sure.
So that's one reason. The other reason is it's sort of a matter of principle to me that no actor should ever feel entitled or above anything. I like going into the trenches with with my colleagues, suiting up, showing up, and going, hey, here's me presenting myself in the room.
Right.
And here's the thing. My answers are long-winded. I should just
go for it.
For several decades now, I've taught a class on the psychology of auditioning.
Right.
And one of the ways that became my specialty was that I used to just hate them. I used to just be just so scared and shy and all this. I was terrible at them.
Right.
And now I love them. And so being able to share that and teach that to people has been a great privilege.
Nice.
And every time I go, it's like, oh yeah, I like this.
Yeah.
I like going and singing a song or doing a scene for somebody.
Yeah, I feel similarly, I have to tell you, where I never necessarily experienced audition anxiety. I kind of did in college, I think, but now I've gotten to a point where I like look forward to them. They've kind of become like my work week, you know what I mean? Where I'm like, let me see how many I can make today that I feel that, comfortable doing, or let me try out this little thing. Not like totally experiment, but let me just try this thing.
Yeah.
I want to try this new,
love that.
Not like, and it's not even like, let me just bring in this new song that I've never done before. It's more like, I wonder what would happen if I smiled at this moment and tried to find the joy in this. And then it'll change something in my brain at the very least. And then all of a sudden, it doesn't really matter if I got the job.
So you're actually, you're going and doing your work with people watching. And it's, I think it's an actor mythology that auditions have to be horrendous and nerve-wracking and unpleasant and uncomfortable. They really don't.
Right.
They really don't.
Right. Yeah.
So yeah, why lie? I kind of like the shock value. I kind of like the people that are like, what's he doing?
Right.
But
Yeah. No, for sure.
I think because my career started so late, I was such a late bloomer, I tend to land on the side of humility.
Sure.
I don't feel as fancy as people think of me.
Yeah.
So,
that's interesting.
Yeah, I don't. It's funny, we were talking about you saying, I'm going to go up and say hi. There are days when somebody comes up and says, I'm so sorry to bother you. And I'm like, oh, you're so not bothering me. I needed this today so bad.
Yeah.
So
yeah, that's nice. So I wanted to preface with that, and I thought that was important. But we usually start the podcast with the same question. And it is, who is your I want to be like you when you were a kid?
There are so many of them. When I was a kid, let's see. Well, Dustin Hoffman was one of those guys. John Lithgow was one of those guys.
Oh yeah.
Because I like that they morph. I love morphing. you know, into roles. But when I was a little kid, I thought Anthony Newley. You guys don't know who he is, but he's like was a Dr. Dolittle, and you know he was this song and dance man. I think I really thought my career was going to be like musical theater, song and dance man, and I ended up being Mr. TV Drama, which is just whatever. I can't. It wasn't what I planned on. Who else? Those are the two big.
It's funny, John Lithgow. I feel like John Lithgow still is underrated. Like I think that he's one of our greatest living actors, and also I feel like I discovered him even late, and I still feel like I haven't seen like his greatest stuff because like I'm thinking about the most recent stuff like Dexter or which brilliant in Dexter. So Sweet Smell of Success, right? He was in that, right? No. I'm sorry, Dirty Rotten Scoundrels. Dirty Rotten Scoundrels.
Great.
My gosh, great. Or Winston Churchill in The Crown. My goodness, like I think he's one of our greatest, and I'm so excited that he's coming back in the spring.
And he is truly like what I think of as a character actor because he will morph into anything.
Right.
Know? That was a shock. I didn't even recognize him because he was so young. Watched Blowout and was like, "This is the same guy." You're watching, like, his eyes are different.
I mean, I really got thrilled by him in an old film called Buckaroo Banzai in the 21st century or something like Buckaroo Banzai, and he was like a crazy mad, villain, and I was like, man, that's the shit, and it's something I strive for in my career, although I play so many lawyers.
Yeah.
But it's great that I go play lawyers on TV and then I go do Hairspray.
Right.
Or then I go do Les Mis. I get to play, parts
totally wacky. Yeah. Have you ever met John or worked with him?
No. I'm trying. It's terrible. I think he was one of the contributors to my last book, and I can't remember.
Oh, is that right?
We had so many. Not to sidetrack, but
you're good.
A colleague and I wrote the Stage Actors Handbook.
Yes,
because it didn't exist
in 2022.
And when we were in the process of writing it, we reached out to a bunch of legendary stage folks, and so many of them were like, "Oh yeah, I've got something I want to add to that book."
Oh wow!
And I believe John Lithgow was one of them.
Wow.
I'm pretty sure because it's a long list of incredible people.
And now he's coming back to the stage this spring. I can't wait.
Yeah.
So were you a theater kid growing up? You're from the city.
I'm from the city, and I always did like whatever school plays there were, or summer camp plays, and I was always in love with it.
Yeah.
So I guess.
Did you see a lot of theater?
I saw probably a lot of theater for a kid.
Yeah. What was your first Broadway show? Do you remember?
I think it might have been Fiddler on the Roof. That's how old I am. I know that I saw Sweet Charity on tour. But again, the original production.
Wow. How cool.
Yeah.
How cool. Where are you from exactly in the city?
Upper West Side.
Okay,
gotcha.
I
was born and raised on the Upper West Side.
Yeah, we're from Brooklyn and Staten Island. Yeah. So we're all New York babies.
Yeah. Yeah.
So when did you decide that this was something that you wanted to do for a living? You were doing shows in high school, I imagine, and whatnot, right?
Yeah. I don't know why I always find these questions challenging, but I'll do my best.
Yeah.
As soon as I knew there was such a thing, I was like a beacon. I was like, that's my thing. But I had very, very, very damaged self-esteem, really bad. And so I don't think I ever took myself seriously in terms of the possibility of having a career until, I was maybe in my mid-20s. And so I waited at a lot of tables. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I think that's when I went, okay, I'm going to stop saying I'm going to be an actor, and I'm going to say I am an actor and go do it.
Yeah.
But it took me a very, very long time to get off the ground.
But you went to college for it, right?
I didn't go to college.
You didn't go to college?
No.
Oh, so then I must have found that was a mistake. I
it's all right. It's a regret, but it's
sure. So it wasn't until your mid-20s that you decided to fully pursue it. What was your first step? What was the first thing you felt you needed to do?
Well, I was living in LA at the time, and moving back to New York was my first step. And buying Backstage, which at the time was like the thing, like what Actors Access is now.
Yeah.
And going to auditions again, terror, dripping sweat, white hot terror, and taking classes here in New York. And I mean that was sort of the sign of. And honestly, my first waiter job, I was like, okay, now I'm a New York actor.
Yeah. Well, but you moved to LA to pursue acting and then didn't, or?
I wish this story were more interesting, but no, I mean, you want me to be real, right?
Yeah, of course.
I had a very, very difficult relationship with my mother, and so I moved out to California to live with my father.
Ah, I see. Okay,
None of it was good or career forwarding. It was a very complicated time.
Ah, I see.
So, and you know what? There's a real purpose to me being open about that stuff, because I feel like and this is something that's come out in my teaching. The more that I'm really honest about what's complicated about me or broken or has been painful, it encourages other people who've been in those situations as well.
Right.
Because I have a really great career. I'm like, I wouldn't have seen that coming if you had known me when I was a kid. You would have been like, oh, he's doomed. He's going to be in trouble. You know? So,
that's funny.
So yeah, it took me a long time to sort of get myself together, so to speak.
Yeah. Interesting. So you came back here, and what was do you remember the first professional job that you booked?
Well, let's see. My folks were in the film business, so I did a part or two, like in LA. I had a small part in a TV movie.
Gotcha.
And then, gosh, I don't remember.
No, you're good.
That is a sign of age.
What was the job? I always ask this question. What was the job that you got your equity or SAG card with?
I made the mistake of buying into equity through my SAG card. I had my SAG card from doing the Dream Merchants, or this TV movie. You know, ridiculous. Anyway, I had my SAG card, and I bought into equity, which was a mistake because I didn't have any credits.
Yeah.
Which is one of the reasons that I was like, okay, I can't. I had a hard time getting anything off the ground.
Sure.
My first. I didn't use my equity card for 10 years. I was back in LA by then, and I was going in for this show, and somebody said, tell them you have housing. They'll hire you. And I did. And they went, oh, you have housing? And they hired me, and then I had to figure out housing. But but I finally had an equity contract, you know. I feel like I'm a disappointing interview because
not at all.
I don't have.
No, you're totally
my
good.
My story is just kind of like this.
It ebbs and
like,
flows. Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's not.
Yeah.
It isn't.
Yeah.
You know, it wasn't a neat rise to fame. Or I'm not fame, but you know, and I like I said, I was not. I was kind of not okay. I was kind of like really needed a lot of therapy and stuff to, you know.
So when did you get to a place where you felt like you were really moving in the, you know?
Yeah. Again, I've been back and forth between here and LA a lot of times.
Right.
I was in LA, and I started to book some TV parts and some film parts, and as I gathered momentum, there was sort of a correlation between booking and me going, oh, maybe I don't suck, you know. I think people always want us to have self-esteem and assurance in a vacuum and just go, well, I believe in myself, but it's a lot easier when people hire you.
Right.
So
yeah, no, it's true.
Yeah. I started to gain some momentum, you know, like mid to late 30s, and at a certain point a job ended, and I was like, okay, I'm going to go back to having a day job, and I went, oh, I don't need to. I'm supporting myself as an actor now, which is, like, as you know, a very small percentage of actors. And that was maybe in my early 40s that I was like, holy fuck, I'm making a living as an actor.
Yeah.
On TV, which was not the plan.
Right.
You know,
right.
It was just not the plan.
Yeah. What was the? Oh, sorry. What were you
I think it's important to go where the door's open.
Yeah.
You know, we have certain ideas about how we think things are going to go, and like I said, I thought I was going to be doing, you know, Broadway musicals, and I did tours of the Broadway.
Yes,
musicals.
right.
But it so often shows up differently than you expect.
Mm-hmm.
You know.
Mm-hmm. When you were in LA, how did you get your first agent?
Oh, this is actually a good story. I finally have a good story.
No.
There was a casting director here who was actually a personal family friend, Joy Todd, and I love Joy Todd. She was a brilliant, like a guru. You know, she was just a great lady. And when I went out to LA, she gave me recommendations to several agents.
Yeah.
And I would meet them, and it would be going fine. And they would say, "Well, do you have any tape? You know, what we call a reel now." And I didn't. So I went, "No, I don't." And they'd go, oh, "Okay, well, you need to have a reel." Fine. So on the fourth meeting, I'm meeting with this guy, and he's really buying into the New York actor mystique. So I decided to play into it. And he's like, you New York actors. I'm like, yeah, we're better. I just sort of I'm like, who the f are you right now? I don't know who you are. And I thought, okay, this is going well. And when I said, Michael, when he asks if you have tape, I don't know what you're going to say, but the answer is not going to be no.
Right.
And so with a straight face, and I don't know how I had the balls to do this. He said, so do you have any tape? I said, Jerry, I do, but I'm not showing it anymore. Again, I'm like trying to play the mysterious New York actor, and inside I'm like, what the hell are you doing? I was like, I'm not sure. I don't feel like it really represents the work that I'm doing now. The stuff that's coming out, I think, once I get that onto a reel, that's going to be, yeah. Now, all I wanted was to be able to do a scene live for them, He goes, oh, I get that. So it's just kind of old. I said, yeah, it's old.
Yeah.
And he goes, well, would you consider doing a scene? Now, inside, I'm like, yes, finally. But I went like this, like this. I went, yeah, I would do that. Yeah, I'll do a scene for you. Sure. And that agency wanted to sign me.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. So there's
I don't know. I just got these. All of a sudden, these balls to completely front,
right?
Especially because he was like setting me up with like being in awe of New York actors. So I thought I'd be like, But that's how I got my first agent.
That's awesome. That's a great story.
Oh my God. And it's been so many ups and downs since then. I've had lousy agents. I've had good agents that dumped me. I've had bad agents that I had to dump, and it's been like up and down.
I mean, I say it all the time. It's like, because I'm pretty open about it in that regard. It's like agents for me was the hardest thing I had to do.
It's hard.
It was like harder than learning how to sing or how to do anything. It's like the hardest than creating a website. Even it was like this was the hardest thing I had to do. And since I've graduated college, I've had 3 agents. So it's been like
Wow.
It's been and some of it is because I left an agent because I didn't feel like they were representing me in the way that I wanted to be represented. So I got dropped. It's just like now I'm with somebody that I feel great about. But it's one of those things where I remember being like, oh man, with my last agent being like, oh man, like I'm here and I'm loving this agent and oh man, we're gonna renew for another year and then I get a call like, hey, we're not, and they're like, oh my gosh, and it kind of just like sent me into full shock, and then I'm like,
there definitely is a lot of relatability there. That isn't.
Yeah.
It's not that unique.
That's common.
Right.
Super common. But the idea of just going in and saying, I'm gonna act for the one least.
Right. Doing a scene before the scene that they asked you to do.
Yeah.
So did that agent get you your first, big jobs on screen?
Actually, let me amend my story. That agent got me the better agent because I had met with another agent, and that agent said, "Well, we might just freelance with you, or hip pocket you." I said, "We're going to have to define this a little bit more because I already have somebody who wants to sign." And they signed me, and that was a huge agency.
That's awesome.
But again, I was with them a year, and they were too prestigious for me, and they dropped me because I didn't book things or hardly book things.
Right.
Yeah. You're asking me recall facts and stuff that are so long ago now. I feel like I'm failing a test.
No, you're totally good. You're totally good. So I want to ask you a little bit about tell me about the first job where was the first job where you felt like fully secure? Was it The Wire? Or was there something before then that made you feel like what was the job when you were like, oh, I feel like exactly what you said, I'm supporting myself as an actor?
I was supporting. I feel like you're just going, this is a terrible interview.
No, it's not. It's not at all. No, you're totally good.
All these downers and stuff.
No, please.
I managed to support myself from like co-stars and guest stars and occasional things. I would not say that I had grown confident, but it's been incremental.
Yeah.
Especially like I would do a co-star and the director would say, we never have people as good as you doing co-stars. I'm like, oh, okay, I don't suck.
Right.
I gained a little confidence with The Wire. And also, starting to get recognized, starting to have casting directors go, oh, we know who you are. I'm like, okay, that again, it's not in a vacuum. I've started to go like, okay, maybe I don't suck. But my last job, that confidence took another step up. I just did a Marvel series, which is coming out early next year.
Yeah, I was going to talk to you about that.
And I was like, okay, I tend to undervalue myself by nature.
Sure.
But I was like, okay, you're number 9 on the call sheet. That's a big fucking deal.
Yeah, it is. Sure is.
And I was like, okay, I am going to not have that voice while I'm filming that goes, oh, you took too long a pause. I bet they're wondering why they hired you, blah, blah, blah. You know, I said, I have 100+ television credits. It's time to start going, you know what? Fuck it. I can act. I'm good. You know?
Yeah.
And
man.
And I really I really decided that I wanted to be a leader on set.
Right.
I made sure to talk to the background. I made sure to welcome people to the set. I made sure to welcome the guest stars.
That's awesome.
And because our star is Nicolas Cage, who's not the most outgoing. Again, no shade. He's
Sure.
He's a lovely guy, but not like, hey, I made sure to be that guy, and it made me feel good. I was like, yeah, I'm going to step into this new level and sort of own the fact that I'm a bigger deal than I think I am.
Right.
You know?
Right. Yeah.
So it's been in steps, but the Wire and sort of the response to the Wire was so gratifying.
Right.
That show was so good, man.
How did you book The Wire?
Okay, again, full disclosure. My sister was one of the producers.
Okay.
And as is often the case with family, we don't do special favors. So she's like, there's a part on the show I think you'd be right for. Do you want to audition? I said, sure. Now, the part that my sister thought I'd be right for was 1 episode, 1 scene. And I didn't book it.
Gotcha.
And the creator of the show said, oh, no, bring him in for Levy. And so that's how I got the much bigger and more prestigious part.
Wow.
So it was a combination of things, but again, full disclosure, I wouldn't have been seen if it wasn't for my sister.
Yeah.
You know?
In terms of auditioning and you finding your way and you're finding your confidence within the audition,
Yes.
were you at a place at the audition with The Wire where you felt like, confident, or were you not?
Yeah, I mean, I've been working steadily in television.
Yeah.
It was a very interesting thing happened. I went in and I read, and the casting director looked at me like she'd seen a ghost. I said, "What's up?" She said, "You're actually good." I said, "Oh, thank you. I'm an actor." She said, "You don't understand. Whenever we see someone as a favor, they suck." So we all think it's a plus to have somebody do your favor. Not always. And like when I've recommended people to my agents, they're like, we're going to see them as a courtesy and we're not going to sign them. I'm like, okay, wow. So this casting director was like, oh, okay, we're going to work on this scene now. I was like, oh, okay. She was prepared to just go, thanks, and send me away because I had been recommended by my sister.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
It's weird that they come with that expectation, of you kind of have to overcome something.
You do.
When you thought that it was the opposite, that you didn't have to overcome something else.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, it's one of the reasons that neither my sister or myself is willing to bypass the system. Like she doesn't.
Yeah.
There's no shortcut, really. There's no shortcut.
I mean, actually, I've done 4 or 5 HBO shows, many of which my sister was involved with. The other ones were all straight auditions. And the last time I gathered my nerve, and she's like, "Okay, so we think you might be right for this part." I said, "Is this a straight offer?" I finally just went, because I've done a bunch of shows for you. She went, all right, let me check. So,
That's funny.
Not by virtue of being related to her, but by virtue of okay, come on. It's
Well, if we're operating on a business level, then you would have operated in the same way if it wasn't your sister.
100%, because it's
Right.
like, okay, I've done all these things for you. I've played all these different kinds of parts.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
No. I at that point, I was really, really in the swim in terms of feeling like, yeah, I like doing this. I like the auditioning. I keep getting hired. I don't, I guess I'm all right.
Yeah. Yeah.
And yeah.
Were you already playing lawyers at that point?
Yeah.
Okay.
I just look like what people imagine lawyers look like.
Yeah.
And that's
especially
okay.
defense attorneys.
Yeah, especially defense attorneys,
Yeah.
and apparently especially for terrible criminals. Because SVU only brings me in. I've done 8 SVUs.
Yeah.
They only bring me in to defend horrible people.
Right. And you are doing the work. You know what I mean? Like your character and you, because you're making me go how are you justifying what you're doing right now? You know what I mean? Because you're just I watched SVU, please. I watch SVU every week to this day.
Yeah.
For the last 10 years, more than I always say, I'm like, my parents have been watching SVU since before I was born, but it's just anytime you come on, I'm going how are it's terrible. You know what I mean? So it's funny that you're having to justify what you're doing because they're having to do that too.
I mean, it's interesting. Again, unpredictable. I'm a very ethical guy, and I worry about people's feelings and stuff. And I play like I mean, in musical theater, Max Bialystock, Thenardier, yeah. And these awful lawyers, and I'm like, I'm all for it. I think it's great, but it's funny how sometimes when people have only seen me on TV, they're like, I fucking hate you.
Yeah.
I hate you.
Yeah.
Like, okay.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. So with The Wire,
It's kind of a good thing.
I think it's a compliment.
It's working in your favor.
Yeah.
With The Wire, did you know the scale of what that role was going to be from the beginning? No.
It was only supposed to be 2 episodes.
Oh, wow.
And they kept writing me in because I guess they liked what it was doing. At least as far as I knew, it was only going to be 2 episodes.
Right.
And we also didn't know what the show was going to be. I mean, we didn't know it was going to be that huge.
Right.
I mean, every season, HBO threatened to cancel
Pull the plug, yeah.
every season.
Right.
And I'm glad we got the 5 seasons that we got.
And you're operating in a time where TV was, it feels like, TV came out in the 50s, but this is when TV really had like almost like this is the TV, because what we
it's
define.
like a golden age.
That's what they say. The golden age of TV is like The Sopranos. I mean, like some people define it as like Oz on HBO being like that first like real drama. And then it was like, The Sopranos and The Wire. And then in that decade, you have like what are considered the greatest shows of all time: Mad Men, Breaking Bad. All these shows that came from like 2000 to 2010.
Almost, I feel like had the most uphill climb.
Yeah.
Yes.
Out of like any show that I've seen, at least in our lifetime, where it's now become even a Breaking Bad. Even while it was coming out, it's still critically acclaimed, whatever it is. It's almost like the critics didn't want to like The Wire in a weird way.
Yeah.
Awards and things like that. I don't know.
There are a couple of reasons for that. One is that we weren't in LA. We were in Baltimore.
Right.
Oh, I thought you shot here.
No, it all shot in Baltimore. It was very authentic. The creator of the show, the creators were a homicide cop and a reporter. And what? I have a little bit of a soapbox about this that people often say to me, "Oh, and those actors, they were just from gangs and off the street." I'm like, no, they were from Yale and Juilliard, and they made you believe that they were from gangs on the street. And I find that, sadly, when it's black talent or people of color, they have a tendency to go, oh, natural ability. And it's like these guys were just laying down the most brilliant work. One after the other, these guys, I was like watching them in awe. And these are like Shakespeare, highly trained Yale, Juilliard guys. And they were just brilliant in their work, And I think that people convinced themselves it wasn't really acting. And I'm like, there's great acting happening here. And there's that tendency, I've noticed the same thing with sports, where they're like, oh, it's natural ability. It's like, give credit. Come on.
Yeah.
What was the undeniability of Idris Elba being British?
Yeah.
Like, oh, he's British.
Right.
There definitely was some sort of undertone of that being far more surprising than
And it's funny, like I think people are very shocked, and I myself was very shocked to find out that The Wire has like a handful less than of Emmy nominations, because for me it's up there as like and it's funny, like I've actually never watched The Wire. I'll be like in full disclosure, I've never watched The Wire, but I know The Wire to be Mount Rushmore of television.
It's a masterclass. I got to tell you, like I have a humble little part of it.
I've watched a lot of your stuff, especially in prep for this.
I could rattle off the people on that show that were just doing incredible work, and some of them in smaller roles. Yeah, just great work. Not to mention Wendell Pierce and Idris Elba and Michael B. Jordan and all these great people. Right. But there's some astounding work on that show, and I was it was an honor to be in it.
And to your point about authenticity, our uncle is a detective in New York, and he'll tell you like it's the most authentic show about
undoubtedly
the most realistic
show. It was like season 3. I remember watching, going, "Oh, this is the best season I think I've ever seen of television. It's up there, debatable." Then I watched season 4. I'm like, "Oh no, this is the best." It's when it's competing with itself. Only very few shows can really say that.
Right.
It's continuously getting better season by season.
And it's hard in TV because now you get this opportunity to be like, okay, well, like for example, like it's just because it's on the top of my head, like Dan Fogelman, right? Like he's prepping this, he's doing this show Paradise right now, and it's a huge hit and all this other stuff. But Dan Fogelman walked into Paradise saying, because I'm Dan Fogelman, I want 3 seasons. I want this many episodes a season, and this is how I'm planning to lay out my entire series, and I'm good to wrap up after season 3. That was never a thing. Never a thing. People didn't even think to. You're just lucky if you get that season 3.
Yeah.
It's 2. You know what I mean? They're beyond 13 episodes. You know, like
I know.
things like that. So it's funny how that's changed, because it's almost more of a testament to shows like that.
Yeah, right. Because it was a little engine that could. It was
exactly.
It was the underdog show.
Yeah. Did you feel that after The Wire that your career shifted?
Yeah. I mean, once it came out, I think the industry all watched it, and I think I had an easier time getting auditions.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How did you, because I saw that you did the Producers National Tour, and was it the first national tour of the Producers?
Mm-hmm.
Wow, so you were covering Max.
Yeah.
Who played Max in that tour?
Louis C. Sadlin, he's one of my favorite people.
Oh, cool. Very cool. And didn't, at one point, Marty Short did it, right? And Jason Alexander?
So Louis J. Sadlin and Don Stevenson did the tour, and then when we got to LA, they wanted to put in bigger names.
That's what I thought.
It was Jason Alexander and Martin Short.
Right.
And our guys went to Broadway.
Okay, gotcha.
And I love those guys. We're still in touch. Yeah.
Did you were you doing that in between The Wire? That's crazy.
That's awesome.
There was one season when I was touring with the Producers, and actually my sister was the one who had to make the call. She's like, okay, where will you be this week? And I'm like, Denver. She goes, okay, we'll fly you in from Denver on your day off. They had to shoot me on Monday and get me back in time for the Tuesday show.
Wow.
Which was crazy.
Oh my gosh.
And the 2 projects couldn't have been more different.
Right.
So I would get on the set and do my first take, and invariably they'd go, "Can you bring it down a little?" Because like all week long, I'm like crazy comedy.
Yeah.
And then it's like, what I call think and mumble and don't do anything else.
Right. Right.
Yeah.
So I have to say I've been in a handful. Well, not a handful. I've been on plenty of film sets as background or as a stand-in, right? And I've done like a co-star role here or there, but. The thing about it is, and I've done so much theater, right? I'm so familiar with theater, grew up with theater and all this, and I grew up with film and television, just not being on the set in the same capacity. For some reason, being on a film set with lights and the crew and all this, is to me significantly higher stakes. It feels almost than being in front of an audience of name how many people. Why do you think that is? Do you feel the same way?
I understand that feeling.
Yeah.
Because there's a lot of expensive equipment.
Yeah.
And the whole process is expensive, and also you see like everybody being meticulous about wardrobe and lighting and all this stuff all around you. And again, we make up this pressure. We make it up.
Right.
I have so many students who book their first co-star. The first thing they say to me is, "I hope I don't get fired." I'm like, they went through hundreds and hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of submissions, and they narrowed it down and narrowed it down. You're it.
Right.
You know how hard it is to get fired?
Yeah.
If you show up drunk and naked and, and insult the star of the show, maybe. But, we don't have time for that. Just, accept that But I think a key that may help people is recognizing that you don't have to understand all of it. You don't have to understand what everybody else is doing.
Right, right.
You just have a little piece of real estate. And typically in your first parts, it's so not about you and it's so not about your part. You're not being scrutinized. You're not being evaluated. It's like you have already won.
Right.
Go to the party and have a good time.
Right.
We make another test for ourselves that doesn't exist.
Well, that's a big thing. It makes me at least understand, because I've kind of been almost grappling with the point of Denzel said that film is a director's medium, theater's an actor's medium. And that really proves that point in a large way, because you're looking at it as an actor sitting there in front of the camera going, man, I don't even matter. Does he even care if I take 13?
Oh, sure.
9 or 6 even, what I'm doing?
Right.
Whereas with theater, you make the show, please God, do good.
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
Like, I can do that, let's go. I'm going from beginning to end this show, especially if it's a crazy track.
Yeah.
That's interesting, yeah.
Yeah, and also, I mean, again, in theater, we hone, we try things, we hone. We don't have that luxury in film and television, so again, it feels like, it feels, but, and it's also very hard to accept that if you don't hear anything, you're killing it. You're doing great. They just don't usually come over and say, hey, great job. You know, they're busy. We're busy. We assume everybody's doing. Again, you're already on the other side of graduation. You've already passed all the tests. Right. This is the party. So,
whereas in theater, if you get silence, yikes.
Oh, yeah.
I remember.
Yeah.
But you know what else, too? Is like, can you imagine coming up to like a grip and being like, hey, I just wanted to say you're doing a really great job today.
Right, exactly.
And that's kind of
that's it on the nose.
Yeah.
That's it on the nose.
Right.
You know,
yeah.
They don't go up to the series regulars and go, that was a good one. It's like, you know, we're moving. We're all, at this point, it's kind of like you have to own your own badassedness. Like, at this point, I'm an accepted professional who's given this job and entrusted with it, and they know what they're doing.
Yeah,
you know.
Yeah. But it's struggle to like. You always want that validation. I'll like just in like. Because I want to tell this story. Is like I remember I was on the set of Bros and I was doing background for the day, and Nick Stoller, who was the director, was like, "Hey, we need somebody to be picked to do this bit," and I was like. And so he lines up all the guys, and you're just standing there, and he's like, okay, can everyone give me their best cheesy smile? I was like, okay, you know, and he goes, okay, you and you, come with me, and you're like, did I just get bumped? And you're like, oh my gosh, what the hell? Yeah. And so then they put me in this moment, and they're like, so we want to do this idea, we're planning this bit. Essentially what this is like it's a bisexual Hallmark Christmas movie, and it's a comedy, it's like a spoof, and your boyfriend gives you a gift, and your girlfriend gives you a gift, and you don't know which one to pick. You ready? Great. And you're like, oh, and I just remember like, and everyone's there, and Billy Eichner's right there, and I'm like, and it was like so. It was, and I think there's a lack of preparedness there, right? I'm trying to figure it out and stuff. But I remember feeling like such a deer in headlights, whereas I've performed for God only knows how many people. And
but you know, the thing that does us in again and again as actors that I really want actors to get rid of is the incredible fear of getting it wrong, as if there is a right and wrong in acting.
Sure.
And you know, one of the things I always do with my students is they're like, well, I was going to make this choice, but I didn't know if it was right. And I'm like, right for who? You're the artist. You know, you're the artist. Like a painter doesn't go, I don't know if this blue is right. Like you want to put blue, put blue.
Right.
And I think people are afraid that, especially if they're new to being on a set, that there are endless possibilities for somebody to get mad at you and yell at you. Also, by the way, I want to add, there is no shame in being new. If you go, hey, guys, it's my first job, just push me around and tell me what to do, they'll be like, oh, let me tell you a little secret about that. And they want to help. You know, people want to help. Right. But by the way, Mariska Hargitay, the best.
Yeah.
The best.
Yeah.
First of all, she's hilarious. She keeps it light on set. But I've seen her with, I will just say, in my opinion, some lesser actors who are newer.
Sure.
And she'd go, so what do you think about the scene? Let's talk about it.
Wow.
Do you feel like it's this? And she brings them in and makes them more comfortable and helps them own their own performance. And, you know, because she knows that's for the good of the show.
Right.
She's my hero.
Yeah, she's the best. My sister was her niece on the show at one point, and she was 9 months old. And my sister, in the middle of the take, threw up on her. and it's all over Mariska's sweater and everything. Right. And you would think, I mean, like, you know, my mom was so embarrassed and Mariska's like, oh no, it's totally good. Someone give me a bounty. She's like, my kid does this all the time. And she just like wipes it off. Wardrobe comes over. They touch her. Still holding my sister. Like she wasn't like, it wasn't like a big like, which I would be like, and I'm not Mariska.
She is so good.
But no, she's always been very sweet.
So, but I think people think that they're going to get in trouble if anybody finds out they're new, or they're going to do some faux pas or some wrong thing. And the thing is, like, they'll tell you. They're like, you got to get a little closer to your mark.
Right.
You know?
Right.
I've tried to train myself not to apologize because it is a waste of time. You know, in filmmaking and in television, there could be a take where the microphone's in the shot. They're like, hold, we got to reset. The mic was in the shot. Nobody's mad. Nobody apologizes. It's like, oh, okay, that happened. That's why we do a bunch of takes. Or the camera will go, cut, I didn't make the turn on time. We got to reset. Yeah. And so we go like, oh, no, I'm so sorry. I made it. It's like, you know, part of the job. It is a waste of time and really a burden to other people if you make such a big deal about things like that.
Yeah, it seems to be more important to just not do it again.
Like, note it to yourself.
And then doing it again.
Sure.
Well, and also, it seems to be that acting is almost the hardest medium, I would say, that I'm thinking of, at least right now, that you can tell when someone is doing what they think they're supposed to or anything like that. Whereas writing, it's so easy to be like, man, maybe a little more freedom here. Directing, it's like, I don't know if he thought he had the freedom with the shot. Acting, it's like, sometimes in even coaching, I'll see, either in the children's theater or anybody on stage and going, I don't quite know what it is, and until I talk to them, I'm like, oh, you think that there's a supposed to and not supposed to.
It buries you.
It's justified.
It buries you.
Yeah.
I'll tell you, like a little quiet little acting breakthrough for me.
Yeah.
And it's so stupid to say it out loud, but it's something that we neglect, is my character is not auditioning to be on a TV show. My character is not on a set nervous about.
Right.
So when I really honor my character, I have a different task, which is I have to convince the detective I wasn't there at the time. That's much more important than, oh no, I'm nervous that they won't like the way I act. When you plunge into that and you really plunge into the work and don't have that outside watching yourself stuff that just, it's so brutal, Yeah. Some of my favorite moments have been like, when, I had an audition for Tootsie, the musical, for the part of the agent, which is just a great part.
Hysterical.
And it's, for anyone who doesn't know, it's he's got this very, very difficult actor, and the actor is demanding to be seen, and he's like, nobody wants to work with you. And I went into this big Broadway audition, and before I went in, I thought, the reader in there doesn't understand that I can't get him work. Nobody wants to work with him. So screw the director, screw the accompanist, everybody else. I just had a conversation with this reader where he's going, why can't you go? I was like, because nobody wants to work with you. They can't stand you. You know, and I just did the job of convince. Now that part went to a big Broadway name.
Yeah.
But
I'm blanking on his name right now. He recently passed away. Too.
Yes,
yeah.
Michael McGraw.
Michael McGraw,
Wonderful.
Yeah.
And then I got a straight offer for the national tour. Because I was doing honest work.
Sure.
I feel responsible to follow that up. Lots of times we do honest work and don't get picked, so that's not really the proof.
Right.
You can't say, oh, well, I must have screwed it up. That's a whole thing.
Right.
That's a whole nonsense thing.
Yeah. But it's just something to keep as like a staple.
Well, it's easier and more comfortable to live the character's life, and that's the job.
Right. Yeah.
It's something outside. It's something outside of you. It's different experiences that you're having. I even told my sister a big note for callbacks. Sometimes, especially they would do, you're coming in, you're watching other people's performances. And I said, if you can watch it, she was really young at the time, but if you can watch everybody and watch how nervous they are, you're gonna calm yourself and not even notice it. Because you're just noticing them, and then use that as a reaction when you're up there.
Yeah.
Like, why is this character nervous today? Whatever it is, anything you can use as for a reaction is going to calm you. And really, how are you gonna get, especially if it's an emotional scene, whether funny or dramatic, any sort of emotional, how are you gonna get that through when the nerves are kicking in? How are you gonna do that? It seems to be by just immersing yourself in it.
Yeah, and I mean, it's easy to say don't be nervous. It's hard if you suffer from nervousness, but I feel like the little torch that guides you out of that cave is let me invest a little bit more in what I'm trying to do as a character. This character, needs to find his daughter, can't find her, or needs to, tell his friend how great this fucking cereal is, I mean, even if it's that. And again, instead of trying to say the lines right, or do it in a way that somebody else is going to go, hey, we'll give you a job, because we can't crack that code.
Yeah.
But to go, I have to tell you about this cereal. It's really good.
Yeah.
I really want you to know,
Right.
So anyway, I get worked up on these things.
To add to this, because I want to talk about the nervousness with film too, just like a little nugget of this, and you mentioned Mariska, is like working with the people that you recognize, right? The idea that like, oh, I've watched this person, oh, I'm kind of geeked to see them here right now, but now I'm getting the chance to be on an equal playing field. Is like, it's kind of jarring, right?
It can be, but I want to tell you again. I like to reframe things. It's a service to them to treat them like regular people.
Right.
I am, again, I'm not a celebrity, but I am not comfortable when people are uncomfortable around me. I don't want them to be uncomfortable. I'm just a regular guy,
Yeah.
So I will diffuse that very quickly.
Right.
And, you know, when stars are out in public, they know people are going to come geek out, whatever. But when you're at work, you just want, most of them, I've never met any of them that wanted to be treated like have their ass kissed. They just want to do the work. So it is unfair to them when you come in with like, oh God, blah, blah, you know, and have a meltdown. As a service to them to support their work, call them by their first name, talk to them like a person. And I haven't met anybody who didn't appreciate that. Yeah. Because it's more comfortable for them.
Right.
You know?
Yeah. I was in for, at one point, Law & Order Organized Crime, and there was this funny, I remember thinking to myself, like, I was supposed to be interrogated or something by Elliot Stabler, Chris Maloney. And I remember thinking to myself, like, gosh, if I get this job, he's going to be... the idea of that intimidated me prior to even filming the tape. You know?
But think about it. It's an interrogation scene. That's a gift.
Right. And that's exactly what like kind of like cracked. It was like, oh my gosh, that'd be you know. So
that would work.
Anyway,
it's like go ahead and be nervous.
Do what you gotta do. I have to ask you about this little credit because when I saw it, we were just such big fans of the show, so we want to know about your experience on it. Malcolm in the Middle. You got to do 2 episodes on Malcolm.
Oh, how funny.
And it seemed that was even before The Wire, right?
Definitely before The Wire.
But it was such a fun. It's the company picnic episode, Chris, if you remember it, where Hal's going to the company.
I barely remember it. I just know it was with Patrick Warburton, and I was
sort of gosh, yeah.
You know what? I don't remember much about that at all. So I once again, I'm going to disappoint you.
No, not at all. It's just funny because I watched it last night, right? Because I mean, I've probably watched Malcolm in the Middle 3 times over. It's just one of our favorite. It's a comfort show, and I was like, and I'm watching it, I'm going, oh my gosh, you and Patrick Warburton, and then the guy whose name I'm blanking on right now, he was in Dinosaurs. That's like what I know him from. He was the lead guy in Dinosaurs. Look him up for me, Chris. He was also in Girl Meets World. He was in Girl Meets a New Teacher. I'm like blanking on his name right now, but he's been in a ton of sitcoms. He's like, you know, he's done.
Stuart Pankin?
Let me see a picture of him. I'm just curious.
Stuart Pankin, could be him.
Yes. Although I don't know if it was him or if it was who also I'm blanking on, Fuchs from Barry. Oh my gosh, what's his name?
It was him. Stephen Root.
Stephen Root, that's what it was. Stephen Root, that's what.
Also like the sweetest man.
That's what I'm thinking of. Yeah.
Sweet. I've worked with him a number of times. He's the loveliest man.
He's the best. Yeah. So you also got to do Les Mis in the middle of The Wire too, right?
Not in the middle of The Wire.
No. Okay.
By then, I think we were done filming.
Yeah. Did you get to do that on Broadway?
No, I've never performed on Broadway.
Because apparently it's on IBDB that you did do it on Broadway,
really?
Which is funny.
That's nice.
So that's why. But you did it on tour.
I did 2 tours of Les Mis. One in 2003 and one in 2010.
Right, the 25th anniversary.
Right.
Yeah. Talk to me a little bit about the Thenardier as a part, because we've had a bunch of people from Les Mis on, and but never Thenardier, and Thenardier is essentially the only levity in Les Mis, right?
It's a really interesting role.
Yeah.
I still can't believe that I got to do it twice. I think that to do the part well, you have to embrace the evil as well as the comedy, because my first director was Jason Moore, and he said, I don't think of him as comic relief. I said, I'm so glad you said that, even though there's humor there, because it's like a sandwich, like an Oreo, you know, from scene to scene. If things are, and here's how it lands with me. When things are going well, he's hilarious.
Yeah.
When they're not, he'll stab you in your eye.
Right.
You know, and the key in for me with that role was entitlement. I feel like Thenardier feels like, by virtue of my wit, my brains, I should be with the wealthy, you know, the privileged class.
Right.
Which is why the wedding is like, here we go, finally, you know, and why he has such bitterness about, like, you know, being on the street and being arrested. And so a lot of, you know, if you think about it, a master of the house, the big thing that I think he wants to communicate is, look how smart I am. look how clever. Look what these guys, I'm taking all their money. And the same thing in the sewer.
Right.
He's saying, they're all up there getting killed. I'm down here getting the gold, you know? And so I think there's a real entitlement and an anger at not getting his due.
Right. And yet somehow, like, it perversely, like, some sort of pride.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Super interesting.
Yeah, and that's the puzzle with that. I don't like when I see a Thenardier who is strictly funny. I think they're missing something, because if you read the book,
I was going to say that tunnel scene in the book is very different.
He's
It's very.
he's scary. He's dangerous. Yeah. Yeah.
And that's what leads into bringing him home, is sending him the wrong way and leading into, and when he didn't have to do that at all.
Yeah.
Why would you go out of your way? It doesn't benefit him in any way. So that's interesting, entitlement.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
I was gonna ask about similarly a little bit to Max Bialystock. Obviously, he's less of a villain in the truer sense of the word. But what you're doing is you are swindling somebody, but the comedy is kind of a byproduct.
Yeah, yeah. I love comedy, and I always say it's rarely funny to the character.
Yeah,
that's part of the key for me.
Right.
Is like, to Max, it's like, it is 100% serious. I have to have this money. When you see the original movie with Zero Mostel, when he goes, "Oh Lord, I want that money," like he's not kidding. He's not kidding. It's like a Greek tragedy.
Yeah.
So I think what's fun about him is he's not burdened by scruples. It's like it's kind of like why we love Bugs Bunny, because he's mischievous. He's like having a good time. And I think the thing with Max is just I don't know. I think we like to see somebody with no shame.
Right.
There's something fun about that.
Yeah. Are you the type of actor who gets something out of looking at what Nathan Lane did and what Marty Short is doing, and do you prefer going into things colder?
I always say steal from everybody. It's going to be different on me than on them. In the producers, we were forced to do what had been done previously. They wanted down to every gesture and everything like that.
Oh wow,
that's how it was. They wanted to replicate what Nathan and Matthew did. But I like the challenge of filling that in with some truth that makes it feel organic to me. But yeah, I will steal from anybody. If it works, it works. I mean, I also believe that not everything works on every actor, so you can't just do what they did. It has to have something of your own.
Yeah, for sure. Let's talk about Sonny with a Chance. A lot of people my age grew up with Sonny with a Chance, grew up with that whole Disney Channel, I bundled them into like Sonny with a Chance, Wizards of Waverly Place, Sweet Life, those were my, Hannah Montana, those were my like core childhood shows, Jonas Brothers, like that. And so that's why immediately I recognized you as the executive producer from Sonny with a Chance. Talk to me about how you booked that.
I don't remember. I think it was just one of those things where I got an audition and booked it.
Was that the first time you ever did a multicam?
No, I had guested on multicam before.
Okay.
It was just an appointment from my agent.
Yeah.
For the pilot, and then the pilot that got picked up. The pilot was actually pretty different. It was interesting. But I loved it. I loved that job. First of all, again, having been like, I'm this dark, awful lawyer, to get to do comedy with kids. And also, I really love kids. I enjoy kids. They're funny people. And I loved those guys. And we had a really good time. And I like that you couldn't possibly be too broad. It was like, go for it, And I thought it was a clever show.
Yeah, it was a clever show.
I thought it was well written and well cast, and I had a really good time on that gig.
Were you guys doing it in front of an actual audience?
Yeah.
You were. Oh,
yeah.
That's even better.
Yeah. Oh,
that's
yeah.
Even better.
Oh, that's the best because it's like theater.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. It feels like an elevated version of theater.
Yeah, it was really fun.
Yeah,
it was really fun.
Why did Sonny with a Chance wrap up as soon as it did? Because they usually do Disney and Nickelodeon. They do those 75 episode contracts, or 3, which equates to 3 seasons, and then if you're lucky enough, you'll get a 4th. But usually they tie it over there. With Sonny with a Chance, it was 2 seasons, but they figured it out with So Random was like the 3rd season of Sonny with a Chance without Demi Lovato. What was the reason why Sonny with a Chance only went 2 years?
Because Demi had some personal issues.
Okay.
She had some.
That's why she wasn't involved
some
in So
stuff
Random.
going on.
Okay, gotcha.
I don't remember the specifics or know the specifics, but I do know. There was a week. We finished shooting on a Friday, and I said, "So are you gonna rest this weekend?" She goes, "No, the tour bus is waiting outside. I gotta go do concerts for the weekend." I was like, "Oh my God!" She said, "Well, I love the concerts. I love doing it." She goes, "But I mean, she was working a 7-day week."
Was she an adult at that time, or she was a kid
No,
still?
she was a kid. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, a really sweet kid. I like her a lot. But she had some stuff happen. I think there was some cutting involved and some stuff like that. So she needed to not be on the show, and that's why it didn't continue.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
How come you weren't involved in So Random?
Because
you executive produced it.
Right, exactly. The format was not a behind the sines, right?
No. It was like a sketch show.
Yeah. That's why I wasn't.
Right. Yeah, that's what I figured. But I didn't know if it was. Was that one of those shows where you knew you were going to be a regular on it, or were you just riding the wave, recurring on it?
Interesting story. I got offered a series regular on Sonny with a Chance, and I was all excited.
Mm-hmm.
And my manager said, "You can't take it." I was like, "What do you mean?" He said, "If you sign on as a series regular, Disney will own you for 6 years. You won't be able to do anything that's not Disney."
Wow.
I was like, "Oh wow!" And my agent, who was really smart, said, "Offer it to him as a guest star." And they were like, "Oh, he would do that?" I'm like, "Yeah, of course." So it was one of those counterintuitive moves where you would think, well, who would turn down a series regular?
Mm-hmm.
But I was glad that I did, because I wouldn't have been available for a lot of things.
Wow, that's so bizarre. Those contracts are so weird.
Yeah, they are weird. But I liked it. I mean, I liked it because I never knew when I was going to get a call.
Yeah,
to go back to Sonny.
To come back. Yeah. So I want to ask you about this because a lot of our demo tends to be theater, right?
Yeah.
I would say that you're probably the person that we've had on who has the most on-screen credits. And for me, I know breaking into that space, I mean, especially now, is really tricky. Do you think that, just starting here from a technical standpoint, do you think that it's crucial to have an agent and a manager to do that work for you? Can you write it out with just an agent?
That's a really hard question to answer. It's such a mysterious thing, the agent-manager question.
Right.
The short answer is no, it's not necessary to have both. I've always felt like if I have people who really, really believe in me, the more the merrier. I don't mind paying more money.
Yeah.
Because to have a manager and the agent, and the cool thing about it is they get competitive. Like the agent will get you an appointment, and the manager goes, "Oh yeah, I submitted you for that. I'm glad that came through." And so I'm like, "Okay, great. I want you competing to get me appointments."
Yeah.
But it's interesting. I find that I have sort of an unusual setup. My manager gets me most of my appointments. My agents are the better career advisors.
Oh, interesting.
Or not better, but I mean, they do.
Whatever.
That's basically what they do.
Right.
And so I think it depends on the individual. I think you want people who believe in you and are going to work hard for your career. And if you have both of those things, if you have an agent and a manager like that, I'm like, I would always say go for it.
Right. When did you get your manager? How far into your career?
Oh, again, I've had managers that not had managers all throughout my career.
Gotcha. Yeah.
I've had to drop managers. Or,
Sure. It's
complicated. But again, I don't know that it's a necessity.
Right.
But I find it helpful.
Yeah. Yeah. I think it's, and this will pivot into my next question really well. I've heard you say before that, you consider yourself like a blue collar actor, right?
Yes.
Some people would call it a journeyman actor.
Yes.
Who would especially there were a lot of people up until pretty much now who were making their living off, doing these guest star parts and recurring and then, maybe a regular here and, whatever. And they'll all of a sudden you're like, oh, and that's how you get the whole don't I know you from somewhere thing, right? Is that because I've seen you everywhere?
Yeah.
Of course you know me from somewhere because if you turn on your TV, I'm probably there. But now that's not really a thing that it's significantly more difficult to make a career as a journeyman blue collar actor.
Is it? I don't know.
Well, I think the reason why is because the broadcast is making significantly less TV, and then the seasons don't work in the same way. Where like for example, pilot season doesn't exist at all,
right,
or just and generally speaking, I think less shows are getting made, and they're looking for less. SVU is always looking for, or FBI, these like procedurals, they're always looking for, your suspect, your lawyer, and they have like all these co-stars and guest stars. But a lot of Netflix streaming shows, they're a little bit more bubble, or they cast beforehand, or they, you know what I mean? So it's hard to be like, you're sometimes booked out.
Yeah. I guess I always go back to what isn't difficult about being an actor. No, it's never been easy. And I think there's no entitlement. This is, again, why I go to open calls. There's no entitlement.
Yeah.
I'm not entitled to have, a Broadway show. And I feel like some of us sign on for this business that we know it's a bad supply and demand ratio. There are too many actors, too few parts. Always has been, always will be.
Right.
And we know this, and then we complain about it.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, it's hard. It's hard.
Yeah.
Again, I can't believe I'm in this tiny category. But now see, I say I make my living as an actor. I've also taught. I've also been a writer.
Right.
I've also done other things. So I guess not completely as an actor.
Sure.
But making a living as an artist is crazy. But I don't know. I just think I think it's always been tough.
Yeah.
Getting into the union stuff, getting an agent is tough.
Right. Right. Yeah. Yeah, for sure. Let's talk a little bit about Molly's Game. So what's interesting about this is it's Aaron Sorkin.
Yes.
And similar to like when we talk about Les Mis versus the producers or things like this, is like what you're doing is similar, but it's a different style of what you're doing. And I imagine Aaron Sorkin and working with his material and him directing, which it was his directorial debut, that's its own style, right?
I never approach my work in terms of style. I never think about style.
Mm-hmm.
I wonder if that's true. Because I feel, because I coach so many actors, I go back to this, like people will say, oh, I'm talking fast because that's what they do on SVU. That's the style.
Uh-huh.
But to me, as an actor, why are they talking fast? What is that giving us in the story? We're like,
Mm-hmm.
Oh, it's telling a story about people who have so much expertise that they don't need to talk slow to each other. They get it. Sometimes they don't finish their sentences. Mm-hmm. On the West Wing, you'll see people say, "Hey, did you get the? Yeah, it's already done." That's the exchange.
Yeah.
You don't even have to get to the noun.
Yeah.
But that's the story. And often procedurals, we're speaking fast because it's like I have one chance to tell you this. That we haven't. There's still another guy in the building on fire. I've got to tell you this right away. It's got to land the first time.
Yeah.
So it's not just I'm going to talk fast. The only thing that's really stands out about Sorkin is that is a word for word set. Mm-hmm. Anything you do with Sorkin, and it's sort of The Wire is similar. I mean, I think David Simon's writing is so fucking great that. But on an Aaron Sorkin set, they will come over and say that there's a comma right after that word. Like that's how exact it has to be.
Right.
But I somehow just I at some point I don't know how, but I kind of got on his list. He just likes me, and that was a straight offer. I was like, wow, yeah, wow, indeed.
Wow,
it's wild.
And you had already worked on the West Wing prior to that.
I worked on the West Wing and Studio 60 on the Sunset Strip.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah, I did a couple of episodes of that.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah. So and that's why I wondered it, because it's so specific. And now when he's directing it too, it adds that level of
Yeah, but like again, I could have been really nervous because it was Aaron Sorkin.
Yeah.
But he doesn't present himself that way. He's like wants to just do his thing and make his movie.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. This is a silly, over-asked question, maybe, and I'm sure you get asked this all the time.
Excellent.
The biggest difference when it comes to stage and screen, right? We've talked about, it's like your truth is the thing that sets you, that sets you forward first.
Right.
But I find sometimes where I'll watch my tape back and I'll be like, I'm doing well. First of all, when we think about framework, right? There's always like I'm always concerned about like the framework for screen tape is like from like your chest and above versus like a theater tape where they want to see your waist and above. But I guess also just like how big you are can affect you getting the job.
Well, I don't know if you know this, but my mantra is you're not getting the fucking job.
Right.
Like, there's
right.
no fucking job.
Right.
Forget the fucking job. Because in almost every case, that's the outcome. The least likely outcome of an audition is a job.
Right.
Sorry, but that's real talk.
Yeah. Yeah.
So when we set ourselves up where the only satisfactory outcome is booking, we are disappointed all the time.
Right.
When we learn to enjoy getting to play the part for the audition, gold. So I just put that little commercial in there. Yeah, they are very different media, and I feel very lucky that I get to do both of them. And I think, well, I always say the camera can see you think. The camera can see you feel. You never have to show the camera your choices.
Yeah.
You never have to go, oh, look, I'm mad. Let me show you how mad I am. You just have to be mad, and the camera gets it all. And a lot of the storytelling is done by the editing and the music, and it's just not all on your shoulders.
Yeah.
There was a scene in the plot against America, which was
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
know it. So
Yeah, I watched it. Yeah.
and I'm playing this projectionist, and I'm watching this newsreel of Hitler, and people were like, "Oh my God, your face! I could see that you were, I was just looking at a wall. Because that film wasn't even on that set. That was a completely different. That was 3 different locations.
Right.
And so when they intercut it, a lot of the work is done by the audience, where they go, "Oh, I can just imagine what he's feeling." I was literally just looking at a wall. So it's not always it doesn't always have to be smaller, but you can't. Where there's no wiggle room is you can't lie, The role that I play on Spider-Noir is pretty over the top. He's a very big personality, but it's when we try to show our choices or in theater. I think you could we're offering it out. We're offering it out to you. In TV, I feel like it's more like, you can come over here and watch us.
Yeah.
Just come over here and watch what we're doing.
Yeah.
So part of it is just trusting that.
Yeah, that's interesting.
Trusting that it's enough,
To the point of how the camera can see you think. I remember once, I mean, I'll just tell the story from today. I was in an audition today, and I'm doing a monologue that I do often, but I'm thinking to myself, this happened like in the moment where I wanted to say something, but I stopped and like thought about it before I said it. And I don't know why, instinctually, it was just something that I did.
It was just a moment.
Afterward, I felt so self-conscious about having done it because I was like, do we always think right now, right? As I'm prepping to say what I want to say next to you, am I thinking about what I'm saying prior to? Not necessarily. It's kind of coming out in the moment. I'm not pausing to go, well, what I'm trying, you know what I'm saying? So I guess, how much are you thinking about that? Because pauses come from thought, right?
Yeah. I really try to not monitor myself.
Yeah, sure.
Because they can always edit.
Yeah.
They can lengthen or shorten a pause. It's only recently that I realized that just because they say rolling doesn't mean you have to start talking right away. You can sit there a minute and not a minute, but and gather your thoughts and
take
get
your
into
time.
a place and then speak.
Yeah.
Again, we are so self-conscious and so worried that somebody's going to not like the way we're doing something. But when something organic like that happens and there's a pause, I want you to go back and watch TV and film and see how much silence is totally okay.
We and my sister were watching Interstellar, and I didn't even realize the sound editing. I would just stop completely. And 2001: A Space Odyssey did very good.
Yes.
That's exactly where that came from. And just telling her, and similar with the thinking, how much of this medium of film or theater is so relative to what either the norm is or to what you create the norm being. If the norm being for that character that you had in that audition is to continuously speak without thinking, and then you thought, well then my attention is to why the hell did he just stop?
Right.
And then if you can answer that, well there you go. You have a story, you have some sort of aim that you were going towards, and there was a justified moment. Same thing with sound editing, and when they, like you said, when they could just edit your performance to make it something, or take a take that you had a different twist completely and then splice that in.
Yeah.
You know?
I mean, sometimes, and again, I'm learning to not go, sorry, can we go back or anything like that. I just go back. Sometimes I'll be like, I used to say, I'm going to take that again. You don't have to say that. I could just in the middle of the take a moment again, repeat it, and they know that I'm just giving them something else to cut if they want to.
Right. Right.
So again, I just wish we would not worry about so many things.
Yeah.
It's hard enough to replicate human behavior. So like today in your audition, a beautiful moment could have been that character going, why did I pause like that? That's real behavior. I very often am like, why did I say that? What am I talking about right now? I don't know what the hell I'm talking about.
Right.
Right. We're not always clear in our ideas and our process, and sometimes there's a really great gift of things being a little messy.
Right. Right. Yeah, for sure.
Does that make sense?
Yeah. Oh, yeah, absolutely. So I want to ask you a little bit about, because you've played so many defense attorneys, the jargon, right? Learning, sometimes it's like medical shows all the time where you're like, I don't really understand what I'm saying here.
I will just say you must overlearn it.
Okay.
You have to overlearn it, because then you get on the set. I did Luke Cage, another Marvel series. I'm playing some sort of mad scientist.
Yeah.
And I had this one scene that was so much jargon, and that's all fictional jargon. It's not even real stuff. And then I got on the set, and he's like, okay, so then I want you to throw this lever over here, and then go over to this test tube and turn this way. And so I was so glad I have one particular friend who will drill me, and go, no, not good enough. Go back. And so I overlearn it. But often, I love mental tricks like, oh, that medication sort of sounds like an animal. Okay, now I'll never forget it.
Yeah, for sure.
I do all those little tricks.
Do you feel the need to look up what it actually means?
I do like to if I can.
Yeah.
But again, we forget that this is fiction. And when I did The West Wing, I said to the writer, I never knew about this law. And he went, I made it up. He said, this is not a documentary.
Right.
It's still a fiction.
Yeah.
So some of these medical things are like, I mean, I've had lawyer friends say to me, you can't say that in court. I'm like, well, they have me saying it in court.
yeah, right. Exactly. Yeah. And that's honestly even more to the testament of The Wire, right? It's like authenticity is not the goal for every show.
Right. That's right. It was very authentic.
Yeah. Let's talk about this Spider-Noir series that's coming out. Whatever you can talk about, that is. It's coming out next year.
It's coming out early next year. We don't know when, because the CGI and the special effects and all that stuff takes a long time.
Yeah. It's going to be on Amazon, is that right?
It's going to start on MGM Plus, and then be on Amazon Prime.
Gotcha.
I'm rarely at this level of excitement about something, and I'm not a Marvel geek at all.
Oh yeah, we both are.
Whew. It is very rare. First of all, it was a great job. It was lucrative. It was prestigious, but it was also artistically satisfying and super fun.
Oh, cool.
Really nice group. And all of the artisans on that show, I think, are like total nerds for what they do.
Oh, awesome.
Whether it's the DP or the props person was a total nerd for props, and everything is so artistic, and it's 1930s Depression New York, and they use a lot of film noir techniques like crooked angles and and like the fan going, and you see the light through the fan or the blinds, and it's marvelous. I am so excited about it. I think the cast is fantastic. But again, like just looking at the background and how, all the care that the hair and makeup people and wardrobe people took to get that look right.
Yeah.
And they were exactly right, you know. And it's
Where did you guys shoot?
L.A., all over
Oh,
L.A.
okay, gotcha.
A lot of the studio back lots, like the old New York streets.
Nice. Yeah. Oh, very cool.
And I don't know if I'm supposed to. It hasn't been announced who I'm playing.
Okay.
So I think I shouldn't say.
Okay, sure.
I think I'm not allowed to say publicly.
No worries.
Yeah, the
That's
NDA
exciting,
is very like locked
I'm
up.
sure.
Yeah.
I'm sure. Were
But
you
I love
able to
my
see
part.
scripts? Were you able to see scripts like in their entirety? I mean, they always say like Marvel project. I mean, this isn't an MCU project, right? It's
Right.
like a Sony. It's with Sony. Yeah,
yeah.
it's with Sony. But they always say that those scripts are like locked up, and so sometimes you're not getting the full context. Were you getting all the context?
Again, because of where I was on the call sheet and the prominence of my role, I was finally able to get all the scripts.
Nice.
You know?
Nice.
I also I hadn't had this before, but like the show's creator and the director had a meeting with me, and they said, "So we want to talk you through the season and what's going to happen."
Oh,
you know?
cool.
Again, I have not been at that level before,
Yeah,
so
yeah.
it's pretty cool.
Can you tell us how many episodes it is?
I don't remember.
Okay. Okay. You know what? But to this point,
I
right?
think it's 8 episodes.
Okay. Gotcha.
Yeah.
To this point in TV, do you find it hard then navigating things being done out of chronology?
No.
Chronology, did I say that?
Yeah.
Right? Okay.
Yeah. No, it's not. It would be hard. You know, we're thinking about it like theater, like you do the scene that comes after, and then the scene that comes before. That would be weird. But it's on a different day usually. You know.
Right.
No, I don't find that weird.
Okay.
I don't find that weird.
Sure.
Sometimes I do want to refresh my memory and go, okay, what happened before
happened
and
here?
after?
Yeah.
But I guess I'm pretty used to it now.
Sure.
Yeah.
Sure. Yeah, for sure. So you wrote these books, and you're a coach yourself, and I want to ask you about them because you've written 4 books. Am I right?
Mm-hmm.
So the one that I really want to talk about is Audition Psych 101.
Okay.
Because I want to talk to you about what you discovered and what you found. I mean, literally, psychologically speaking, about the audition, what it does to actors, especially having gone through so many of those nerves yourself.
I just, well, I mean, I think we do a lot of unnecessary creation of things that make us nervous and make it harder for us. I think the big epiphany for me, and I've already referenced this in this interview, is that I was putting all my focus on the least likely outcome and trying to calculate how to make that happen. That will make you nervous because there isn't a way to do it.
Yeah.
Every casting director is different. Every writer is different. Every director is different. So when we go, I've got to figure out how to book this. It will make you nervous because it's like, you know, like you've just been hired for the circus to be a fire swallower and you don't know how to do that. Well, of course I'm going to be nervous. I don't know how to do that.
Right.
So that was a big breakthrough was realizing, okay, let's forget the job. It's almost definitely not happening. And that is true. To this day, I don't book most of the things that I audition for.
Of course.
So I thought, well, I have to find a different way to approach these. And it was a long journey, and it's actually a hard thing to do, to go, this is just the immediate thing before me is to play this role today. That's all I get. That's the end of it. So now, okay, they're not going to hire me. So how do I want to play it? And it's given me so much more authority in my work.
Yeah.
But I mean, again, the book is full of breakthroughs. And by the way, if anybody is thinking about buying the book, I recommend the audiobook over the book.
Oh.
Because when I did the audiobook, a friend of mine reminded me, he said, you know, it's your book. You don't have to stick to the text. So I added a whole bunch of stuff about self-taping that wasn't in the book, and just other things. Like I'd be in the middle of a chapter and go, okay, wait, let me explain what I mean by this. So I think the audiobook is a better choice. But I really scrubbed through the entire process from getting the script to, you know, the callback and the disappointment of not getting the job. I scrubbed through it all and sort of picked apart the little gremlin ideas that get into our heads that really make it so unpleasant.
Right.
And, you know, I mean, another thing was recognizing the stress that casting people are under.
Mm-hmm.
That makes me go, oh, I don't want to put my nerves on them. They're already having let me take care of them. It's a very different approach. I never ask them to take care of me. I never do anything in my demeanor that asks for. I'm like, no, they already have enough on their plate. So there've been a lot of little shifts like this, and it's Audition Psych 101 is a class that I've taught all over the country for more than 2 decades, and it's again, because I love actors, it's been so gratifying to have actors tell me that it helped them. And help to demystify and deterrorize the audition process.
Yeah.
And again, I would have been the least likely person to ever teach this, and so it really is sort of a marker of what that journey has been for me.
Yeah. Can I ask, if you get sides for an audition?
Yeah.
What is the first thing you're doing?
The first thing I'm doing is reading everything, and when I say everything, I mean the page numbers, because that tells you where you are in the story. I mean the part they crossed out because they didn't think it was interesting. I mean all of the stage directions, and really, really making sure I'm getting under the hood and not going, oh, it's this, I got it, blah, 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 and jumping in and making choices, because, I see it again and again and again. People just make an arbitrary choice because then I go, what about this? And they're like, oh, I didn't see that.
Right.
Yeah, it's right there in the stage directions. Yeah, it says she's not angry. Oh, okay,
Yeah.
And I love the detective work of cracking the code of what's really going on. I love that. That's so much fun.
Right.
So I think that's sort of the first thing that I do, and I'm into what makes people tick. And so it's sort of figuring out what's driving this character, and it's the meat and potatoes. It's the objectives, the obstacles, the stakes. Recognizing that sometimes it's not high stakes. In acting class, they only have you play things that are high stakes, but in TV, very often there are no high stakes. It's just if you're doing co-star roles, as I always say, sometimes it's just Tuesday and you're at work. Yeah. So
we've gone through that battle where Christian will be my reader, and my line is like, he went that way.
Yeah.
And that's the extent of it.
That's
so I could sit here and deduce it, and then I'll do it, and I'm like, I should probably do another take. And he's like, why? And I'm
what?
he's like, what do you think you can make better out of that? And I'm like, well, I don't know. It just didn't feel like I was like
acting.
But it's like this, and again, I've also taught classes on co-star roles, which I may do again, because they are hard. They're the hardest, because they don't really fit what we learn in acting class very much. And it's not that you have to throw it away, and it's not that they don't matter. It's just that you have to be very clear about why are you there, what's your purpose in the story, and what's your objective.
Right.
Right. In that case, you want to make sure he knows that he went that way.
Yeah.
And I know this might sound dumb, but if I really focus on that, making sure he knows, that gives it a level of reality that's different than an actor thinking, how do I say he went that way?
Yeah.
Because now I'm checking to make sure you got it. I'm checking to make sure that I've communicated with you. I want you to know that, and it's a lot easier.
Right.
I was coaching a guy who was playing a waiter. I said, do you know what those guys want for lunch? No. Well, you better go ask them. And go find out. It is as easy as that, but boy, we get in our heads about it. It's very easy to get in your head about a co-star audition, because you think, well, they must be looking for something special. What do I do to stand out? That's such bullshit. That is a terrible way to approach our work.
Right.
Is let me do something to stand out.
Yeah.
You can give them a tick, but why? It's not in the script.
Yeah, it's true.
That would stand out.
Putting something on it. Yeah.
I'm gonna give him a weird accent. Well, okay, great. That'll be different, but it doesn't. It's not indicated. It's not there. It's not on the page.
Right, for sure.
So.
I just had something on my brain. Oh! I wanted to mention this in regards to auditions too. That has really helped me lately. Is like the feeling of gratitude to be there and to be in person, especially for the last couple years. Like
100%.
There's this I know for dance, I go in for a lot of dance calls, and when I'm going in for these dance calls, a lot of what's different about a dance call is you don't know the material going in, oftentimes at least, sometimes you do, but you don't know the material going in, and so the idea is that it's essentially a cold read, right? Yeah. And it's a cold read of this long 2-minute sometimes combo, and it was when I was in the room, and I was there was a moment where I just looked around and I was like, oh, I'm so lucky to be in the room with these people right now. Like I this is one of those, I'm going to tell the story. You know what I mean? Yeah. I'm just going to tell the story that I can be open about this because Zootopia was doing an audition yesterday, and I was in for Kyle Hanagami, who's like a huge choreographer. I've been watching him since I was a kid. And he looks and he goes, I just want you all to know that just by being here, you are a part of our process in crafting this show.
Yeah.
And you go, oh, I never thought about it that way, but I was in some way some sort of contribution, even if I don't get it, to them crafting this.
It's 100. From being on the director's side, very often in the casting process, I go, okay, that's not the choice. Why is that not the choice? That actor has just helped me hone what I'm looking for by not being the choice. And it really is a contribution. No kidding. It really is.
Yeah.
And thinking about it that way. When you're auditioning, to say, let me show you what I do, and see if that's a fit for you or not.
Yeah.
And it's hard because we all want to work. Of course we do. We all want the confirmation that we're good.
Yeah.
But you can't ask them to give that to you.
Right. Right.
Yeah, that's it is like a cold read. I never thought about that, but dance calls are very much.
And
like
I was notoriously bad at cold reads, and suddenly I've been able to just like adapt, see what I'm getting here, and then kind of just like see what my brain comes up with, kind of like improving, and then we'll see where this goes. And if I land in a place that wasn't, well, it is what it is.
But dance is like a cold read where you have to be instantly off book.
Well, that's right. Yes, right. I'm like, can you imagine someone just gave you this song? Hey, learn this whole song because
now sing it.
And now sing it.
Take the paper away. Yeah.
It is a skill.
I'm a big fan of dancers. I wish I had stuck with it. I love dancing.
It's something that even I'm getting better about in this capacity.
But I do take once in a while. I'm like, I remember when I had no auditions. Anytime I hear myself say, "Oh man, I gotta," I was like, "No, I get to tape.
Right.
I get to tape for this." I remember not having it in.
Yeah.
I was just doing a play a few months ago, and I during rehearsal, I stood on the stage of this beautiful theater. I was like, when I was a little kid, this is what I wanted to do.
Right.
And I almost didn't get here because of, a fucked up childhood. And I'm like, and look where I am. I'm getting paid.
Doing the thing.
To work in this beautiful theater.
Right.
I was like, that is still fucking amazing to me.
Yeah. Yeah.
I hope we never lose that.
Yeah.
Because I think people sometimes become jaded. And I have managed to stay a geek about what I do.
Yeah. That's great. That's special. This is another little nitty gritty question. I've heard Brian Cox say before, you shouldn't watch the monitor. You shouldn't go back and look at the monitor to look at what you did. And it's funny because in a self-tape, that's kind of what we're tasked to do in certain respects. Do you find yourself watching and analyzing and then going back and retaping, or do you let go of it?
I don't tend. I do all the takes and then I watch them back and pick my favorite.
Okay.
That's what I do. But I think you got to do what works for you.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that I'm very big on every instrument in an orchestra is different, and finding your way of working and going, you know what, that's how I work. That's going to work for me. That's how I work. And going, I don't have to do what other people do. So if watching the takes back is helping your auditions, helping you enjoy them more, which really should be the goal, is enjoying it, then I say do it. You know?
Right.
I can think of it at least one time that I watched them back, and I called my friend back who I read with. I was like, I need to do it again. It wasn't it.
Yeah.
Generally speaking, I don't like to watch them.
Right. There are times where I'll watch something and I'll go like, oh, I think I misinterpreted this, or I think that's
valuable.
You know what I mean? So it varies, because sometimes you're just like, I'm never gonna get this right, but yes, for sure. So yeah, I was just curious about that. I want to ask you about this typing exercise that I saw this video of that you did, and the idea of a type, and the term I feel like has become so negatively skewed, but it's, from what I understand and from what I understood from this exercise when I watched you do it in this class, this clip of it, is that it's meant to kind of help you get a sense of where people's perception of you.
Yeah. The exercise that I do in that particular class, it is a typing exercise, but the point of that was showing people how you bring something into the room, your essence, that we take for granted a certain, but we think that when we present an audition or that we're starting at zero, blank slate, and that we've got to prove ourselves. When in fact, you already the tape starts and you've already got stuff. I don't know if this makes any sense, but
no, I hear you.
You have a sort of an essence,
right?
Like I come across as very educated. I don't have to work for that.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not, in fact, very educated, but in terms of what I play.
Sure.
So recognizing that you have things working for you already, again, to sort of take some of the pressure off of like, I got to show that I can play an intellectual lawyer. But it's very interesting. It's usually students who have not gotten out of school yet who ask, how do you avoid getting typecast? And my answer is don't. Because half of that word is cast.
I love that.
Like we're getting cast. Yeah, you're kind of.
Yeah.
Oh, I don't want to get typecast. Shut up and get typecast. You should be so lucky as to get typecast. I am so not mad at playing all these lawyers. It's my bread and butter. It's great.
Right.
And I think people worry more about getting typecast, and you're lucky if you do. If you're a recognizable type and they cast you again and again and again, and eventually, listen, I've gotten to do some parts that are like so not on type.
Right.
My part on Banshee was ridiculous.
I was going to say Banshee. I was going to bring up Banshee.
That was ridiculous, man. I don't know how that happened. And I was like, long hair, neck tattoos everywhere.
Smoking a cigarette.
Smoking and like here and like country and, like an ex-con. And I'm like, I don't know how I got that. But
with Anthony Starr from The Boys.
Yeah.
Homelander.
Wow.
Yeah.
And I was like, snorting coke off the naked breasts of a hooker, and like, I mean,
Classic lawyer.
I mean, like, I don't know. I mean, it was not. This guy was no lawyer.
Yeah, yeah.
So you do get those opportunities, and also like again the fact that I have theater, like I can go do Little Shop and and play all these crazy parts.
Right.
So I think if you're trying to not get typecast, you're fighting the wrong battle.
Yeah, that's interesting.
Listen, for years I used to go in for Les Mis for Javert because that's what I wanted to sing.
Uh-huh.
That's my kind of. I'm a baritone. That's my
Sure.
kind of. And I kept going in and not singing very serious songs and blah blah blah. And a friend finally said, "Why don't you go in for the part you could get?" I was like, "Yeah." It was too on the nose. I was fighting it because it was like, "Oh well, obviously Thenardier." No, if you're obviously Thenardier, go in for Thenardier. Yeah. I wasn't going to ever book Javert. I don't look like a Javert.
Sure. Sure.
So yeah. Anyway,
Yeah, that's interesting.
That was a long-winded answer to your question, but I think people worry too much about getting typecast, and don't fight it.
Yeah. Do you feel that you've gotten to a place where you enjoy auditioning now?
Oh yeah, I have for some time now. Yeah, for a long time.
So because of that, then we want to play a little game. We want to play a little game with you. So because the podcast is called "I Want to Be Like You," we call this segment "AI Want to Be Like You." Okay. So what I did was I had AI write us a little script to do a cold read.
Great. I love it.
Now, mind you, because it's AI, don't expect anything too sophisticated.
I'm
or
anti-AI, just so you know.
Oh yeah, listen,
Yeah.
we're not incredibly pro AI when it comes to like writing scripts or things.
Good.
This is more of a bit.
Good.
But so essentially, what I had AI do is write this script, and it's a script where you're playing a defense attorney. Have you ever done that before?
It rings a bell.
Once or twice. And so I am someone who that you have on the stand. I'm Johnny the defendant. Okay? And you're Hal Stern. Okay? So I'm going to read the character description. Hal Stern is a slick, theatrical defense attorney with a flair for the dramatic, channeling Kostroff's iconic Maurice Levy from The Wire. His sharp wit and predatory charm make him a courtroom showman, wielding exaggerated gestures and biting sarcasm to unravel his opponent. And then there's a little bit more, but that's okay. And then I'm Johnny the defendant, a flustered small-town everyman caught in a comedic scandal over toppling a prized bakery cake. Initially defiant, Johnny proclaims innocence with stubborn conviction, but his nervous demeanor and clumsy excuses betray a guilty conscience. Okay? So we will start. Interior, courtroom, day, a small, dusty courtroom charged with tension and the faint whiff of frosting. Johnny, the defendant, sits rigidly on the witness stand, accused of toppling Betty's Bakery's prized 3-tiered chocolate caramel wedding cake. Michael Kostroff, as defense attorney Hal Stern, glides forward in a gleaming pinstripe suit, his eyes sparkling with theatrical menace. It's just you and Hal, but the room feels like a stage for high drama.
You, the destroyer of desserts. Do you dare deny that you sent Betty's 3-tiered masterpiece crashing to the floor in a heinous act of culinary vandalism?
I deny it, Mr. Stern. I wasn't even near that cake. I'm innocent, I tell you.
Innocent. The audacity, it said, clutching chest. I had to do it. Innocent. The audacity. Oh, the audacity. That cake was a sugary cathedral, crafted for a wedding's joy. Yet you claim you weren't there. Then explain the frosting on your fingers, the crumbs on your coat.
Those could be from anywhere. A donut, a cookie, any pastry. I never touched Betty's cake.
A donut? A cookie? Do you take this court for fools? That cake was no mere pastry. It had swirls, edible pearls, and witnesses saw you lurking near Betty's display, didn't they?
Lurking? I was just browsing. That rug caught my shoe and maybe I bumped something, but I didn't topple anything.
Oh, a rug, you say? So you admitted you were close enough to bump. Tell me, did that Carmel siren song call to you? Did its scent pull you toward that towering delight?
I smelled nothing. Okay, maybe a whiff, but I didn't do it. The cake fell on its own.
It fell on its own. A sentient pastry. Picture it. You, drawn in by the caramel aroma, too close to resist. You reached out, didn't you? And boom! Cake apocalypse.
All right, fine. I smelled that caramel across the shop and it called to me. I got too close and boom! Cake apocalypse. I tried to catch it, but it was like rebuilding a sandcastle after a tidal wave. I'm haunted by it, Mr. Stern.
Aha! The truth at last! A reckless vandal seduced by caramel into sugary sabotage. This town will mourn that cake forever. I rest my case.
All for one clumsy step. I'll never look at cake the same way again.
Says I start
See?
off humming a victorious with a swagger, humming a show tune.
There it is. That was a I want to be like you.
I love that ice cold read.
Yeah. I like the sentient pastry line.
A sentient pastry.
We should put a disclaimer that if you're going to get cakes for a wedding, you're going to go to Vincenzo Salvatore Cakes. Okay, so we started the podcast by asking you who was your I want to be like you when you were a kid, but we want to end the podcast by asking you who is your I want to be like you now. And it doesn't have to be a celebrity. It could be someone in your life. It could be whoever you like.
What comes to mind is I want to be a better me. First of all.
Yeah, that's great.
I want to be a better me. It's a work in progress.
What does that mean?
It means, just for example, the last time I was directing, I had a day when I lost my temper. I don't want to do that again.
Sure. Sure.
I want to become a better and better collaborator, a better and better mentor.
Yeah.
And I think about that stuff a lot, just self-improvement.
Yeah.
And I hope that doesn't sound self-centered, but
no, not at all.
That's the first thing that came to mind when you said, who would you like to be?
I take that. That's great.
I
think that's a great answer.
That's my answer at the moment.
I love it. I'll take it. Thank you so much for doing this.
It was a pleasure. Thanks
I think
for
people are
having
going to gain so much out of it, and
glad.
I appreciate you greatly. And we've been big fans of your work, so thank you. This is such a treat. I want to be like Michael Kostroff. I Want to Be Like You with Elbi Cespedes is produced by Elbi and Christian Cespedes. Special thanks to Angelina Cespedes, Vincenzo Salvatore Cakes, and of course, Michael Kostroff.